Thank you very much. Appreciate the opportunity to be here. One of the things that Representative Cootie has done as chairman of the Education Committee is she had appointed me to serve on the Oklahoma Educational Technology Trust Board. That board oversees a $30 million initial corpus that was awarded from Southwestern Bell at the time, now AT&T, and is invested on behalf of Oklahoma's children for improvement in technology throughout the schools throughout the state of Oklahoma. That's awarded on a blind competitive grant program. That particular chairmanship is being turned over to another representative in the House, but Ms. Cootie, has been an honor to serve in that capacity, and I appreciate your trusting me with that. In 1991, I got my call into politics. I went with a church group on a trip to St. Petersburg, Russia. And it was a large group, about 40 people. I don't want to overstate my importance. I did a lot of moving chairs and tables and directing people where to sit and that kind of thing. But as a part of that trip, I had an opportunity to engage the young people in conversation. Most of them speak good enough English that you can carry on a conversation with them. And in talking with them, you quickly get an understanding that they really are no different from you or I. They have hopes, dreams, and aspirations for their families. And yet when you look around the country, it doesn't take a genius to quickly figure out they have a profoundly different outcome from their government system than what we have in our country. As a matter of fact, on one of the bus tours, one of the people pointed out a church that had been built. They called it the Church on Spilt Blood. Apparently somebody got a little too involved in politics, and so he was taken out. In this country, the blood is spilt for the average person to be able to be involved in politics. And that is my #1 qualification to have served in the Oklahoma House of Representatives, is the sacrifice of the brave men and women that serve in our armed forces that make our government a government based on principles and the Constitution and law, as opposed to whoever's got the most clout and the most might, the most thugs to have the power. I came back from that trip to Russia with a profoundly different sense of what it meant to be engaged civically, to preserve those rights for my own daughter and for the next generation. And so I ran for office, the House of Representatives, in 1992. It was a new district as a result of the census that took place, and as a result of this census, they're going to redraw the lines again. So that's something to stay appraised of. I was successful in 1998, and I've had the honor of serving in Oklahoma House of Representatives for the last 12 years. I carried perfect attendance into the last week of session. I take the responsibilities extremely seriously. I was honored by my colleagues on 4 different sessions to be chosen to serve in different caucus leadership positions. The last 4 years I've served the House Republicans as caucus chairman. It's a very interesting role because you have to balance honest, straightforward communication with preserving a spirit of unity so we can get some things done. It's very much like the communication in a marriage. But it's a great privilege to be entrusted by those caucus members with those responsibilities. We're all familiar with the show, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? And one of the privileges, one of the lifelines granted the audience is to ask the audience if you don't know the answer to the question. The caucus members who have watched me up close serve in the House, debate, amend bills, participate, and defend Republican principles have 4 times voted me into leadership. So if you don't know the answer to the question, perhaps you can ask the audience. And I'm grateful for their trust. You know, driving down to this area of the state, I'm mindful of my first trip down to the Wichita Mountains. It was in 1980 to attend the Passion Play. It was a very cold Easter morning that morning, and that was my first visit to the Lawton area. I was traveling at that time for a job where I was marketing computerized analysis of electrocardiograms. So I had a chance to travel throughout the state of Oklahoma. In 1989, through the time I got elected, I was responsible for an area east of I-35, and I have traveled extensively throughout the state. I know the state of Oklahoma. In the past 12 years, through the responsibilities in the House, and in the first 6 years, we were in the minority. You know, it's a completely different role in the minority party than the majority party. You have to keep a watch on the majority party. At the time, it was the Democrat Party. I've noticed Senator Corn, the last couple of days, getting a little notice and notoriety, talking about the last-minute conference committee report process. Apparently, now that he's in the minority party, it's become important to him. When he was in the majority party, he didn't make any noise about it at all. Apparently could care less when they had the ability to control the conference committee process. I made a big beef about it when I was in the minority because it is a way to get last-minute deals done. I also have made a point about it the last 6 years when we've had the majority because it's not right. It infringes on the rights of the people. But I've run against Senator Corn already, his policies, his legislative proposals, his initiatives, and thank goodness, with a lot of hard work, the Republican principles and ideas have prevailed. When I was elected in '98, we had 40 House Republicans. Now there are 62, and less than 40 Democrats. We've had a profound change. If entrusted with the responsibilities of the office of Lieutenant Governor, and I do believe that there's a good reason to elect someone with some legislative experience to this position, because you need to be prepared to step in and serve in the role and the capacity of the governor's job if for some reason the governor's incapacitated. And so in that regard, I do think it's important to look at someone who perhaps has been faithful in a few things before entrusting them to be responsible over many. I would like to focus on 4 areas: continuing to emphasize the build out of the state's transportation infrastructure, which does serve as the backbone for all of our economy. The emphasis on higher ed, because our economy advances when individuals, like Mark Costello mentioned, pursue their own dreams. Government doesn't create jobs. The only way government creates jobs is making a special perk or a special program for somebody and keeping your taxes higher. Third, Governor and I did a great job on focusing on tourism in terms of bringing outside revenue into the state. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of happy about the picture that they chose to feature me, showing me at ORU. I had an opportunity to serve as an adjunct professor for 2 years there, working with the students that participated in the Oklahoma Intercollegiate Legislative Program that Governor Nye started. And finally, I want to emphasize the role of traditional marriage for providing quality of life for the individuals in the state by honoring, esteeming, and valuing the institution of marriage. The only way we're going to lower the tax rate is begin to lower the cost to the state in terms of propping up broken families. We spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars in child care, food stamp assistance, welfare, to try and prop up the fallout of broken families. We need to recognize and honor, it's hard to beat the traditional model, best institution for those and the kids that get raised in it. My name is John Wright. I am seeking to use those 12 years of legislative experience to serve you in the office of Lieutenant Governor. Thank you for the chance to speak.